You wake up one day and you realize that your life's been kind of boring. You haven't had any trauma lately. Your wallet is nice and full. You've got some money saved up, and you get this harebrained idea that because life is so easy, you decide, I want to do a diesel swap. Well, guys, today we're going to be talking about how much a diesel swap costs in a realistic way. There's a lot of BS out there in the internet world, but I'm going to break down what it's going to cost to diesel swap really any vehicle that you own. Let's dive into it. So today's project is the Jeep, of course. I've got my diesel swap 99XJ over here. And if you watch my previous video, which I'm gonna link up above my head here, you would know that I am currently in winter mode. And what that means is before every winter, I go over every vehicle that I own, overhaul them, get them ready for winter, and largely just do the stuff that I've been kind of neglecting over summer. My summers are very busy, got a lot of stuff going on with work, traveling, vacations, all of that stuff. So I don't really like to work on my vehicles too much unless it's a modification that I really want to do for myself. Winter is when I really don't feel like messing around with a vehicle. We get feet of snow up here in Pennsylvania, and I just don't have time to be messing with this thing. So today's project is just doing a little bit of bed liner. So we did the inner fender wells, did on the underside of the unibody. I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm not going nuts, but I am just working at getting stuff coated. So I stripped all the factory primer down, scuffed it up, and all I'm doing is just a basic bed liner coat. And then I want to do some body stuff, wash this thing, wax it, get it ready because the road salt is coming. The point of this video is really to break down what a diesel swap is going to cost you. And before I even jump into it, most of my videos like this have been going on my other page, Keystone Carry. I'm gonna put a little link down here with a little description, in the description I should say, to take you over to that page. But in the future, guys, I'm gonna be taking all Jeep content and putting it over here on my page, TDXJ. Take a second to check out my Instagram page, TDXJ. And yes, I have a TikTok. I'm sorry, guys, but it's also TDXJ. Before I go any further, I'm going to show you guys the engine bay to prove to you that this is a diesel swap Cherokee, so that all the haters are like, oh, he doesn't have a diesel swap Cherokee. How does he know what he's talking about? He doesn't know what he's talking about. He probably did something in a shop. He paid somebody to do it. No, guys, I did the diesel swap all on my own with the help of some friends too. But here's the engine bay. So inside of this Jeep, we have an OM617 turbo diesel. It's a 3-liter, 5-cylinder turbo diesel. As you can see, I've got everything from an AC compressor, had to make the brackets myself, had to space out the power steering pump because it didn't fit. Put this massive intercooler up front that you guys probably can see. There's the intercooler piping. Did an AT221 turbo. I need to still build an intake for this guy. I have the 7.5 millimeter super pump. So I guess what I'm getting at is I have a diesel that this is my daily driver. I literally drive this thing every single day. There isn't a day that I'm not driving this thing. So that's important because there's a lot of swappers that what I'm gonna call are sort of like hobbyists, or they never actually finish the swap. And what I see a lot on the internet is people that embark on a diesel swap and then they never finish it. They never put the miles on it to actually get the data that you would need to know if the swap is done correctly or if it's even reliable at all. And at this point, guys, I have over 50,000 miles on this swap. So I think it's probably safe to say that, one, I know what I'm doing.
Oh my God, be careful! Stop yelling at me, I know what I'm doing, all right? Come on, one way, one freaking way!
Two, I have the experience to talk about it. And three, I've successfully completed a diesel conversion. I'm not gonna confess or say that I'm just the best out there, the best swapper, best mechanic. I'm none of those things. I'm just a dude that likes to work on stuff. I like to do things bigger than average. So keep that in mind. One thing that I see, especially on the TDI swap pages, it is notorious because some of the BS from the Volkswagen world inevitably floods over to the TDI swap world. I see people saying, oh, you can break even on a swap. You can buy the donor card, pull the engine, sell everything else out, and break even. And honestly, guys, I'm calling BS on that because diesel swaps are far more complex than what you would think. If you want to do cheap and fast, LS swap it. Stick a 5.3 in this thing. You can get adapters, you can get engine mounts, you can get standalone computers. You literally, for I would say $4,000 to $5,000, could get a junkyard 5.3, shove it in your Jeep, and you're good to go. And already I have haters that are gonna be like, $4,000 to $5,000, I can do a swap for $2,000. No, you can't. No, you can't. Unless, one, you don't daily drive it like I do, because if you cheap out on your swap, it's not gonna be reliable. Or two, you found the magical formula. I'm not saying that you can't, but guys, it's more expensive than what you would think. So largely when we're talking about diesel swaps, what I tell people is budget $5,000 to $10,000. Let that sink in for a second, $5,000 to $10,000. And I'm not kidding about that. I'm not trying to pull your legs. There's a couple things that are gonna happen. First, you're gonna have to purchase the engine. And when I bought my OM617 here, I think I paid like $1,000 for it. And then I bought a swap kit that locked up my first engine. So that $1,000 was gone. And then I bought a swap kit, or then I bought another engine and stuck it in that swap kit, destroyed that one because I didn't pinpoint exactly what was going on at first. So guys, that was $2,000 burned. Literally pull it out of your wallet and throw it in the garbage, burn it. And that's the stuff you run into anytime you take a factory vehicle and convert it to something aftermarket. Now, not everybody's gonna have the same experience that I did, but right off the bat, so it was all said and done, I had over $3,000 in engines just for this thing. And then on top of that, I bought a fourth one that I now have up in the shed up here at our shop, and it's just a spare. It's a good runner, it's got less than 90,000 miles. It's a spare, so that's another thing. So your engine, you're gonna spend usually between $500 if you're lucky and find one with history unknown, upwards of $3,000 to $4,000 for a rebuilt or one that's verified running, very low miles. This is gonna vary whether you're getting an OM617, an OM606, a TDI, if you're getting a 4BT. Everybody knows 4BTs cost $3,000 to $5,000 as is. So the moment you pull the trigger on the engine, that's one of the most expensive parts of the swap. Figure, again, between $500 and upwards of $3,000 to $4,000 just for the engine. The second thing is the swap kit. So you need something to adapt to your transmission. Hopefully the transmission you have is gonna work. Otherwise, now you're buying a transmission. Now double that money that you just spent on the engine, you're getting a transmission. The adapter kits usually run anywhere from $800 to a couple grand. Now the ones that I'm running are Doomsday Diesel. I cannot recommend Doomsday Diesel enough. If you're looking to do a Jeep, if you're looking to do a Toyota, something like that, Doomsday Diesel, you will not go wrong whether you're getting a Mercedes diesel engine or a Volkswagen diesel engine. You just cannot go wrong with the kits that Joe's putting together. So the adapter kit is gonna run you about $1,000. Just put $1,000 in there. So already, guys, we are in this about $3,000 to $4,000 minimum for this swap. We haven't even addressed if your drive shafts change, if, again, you need other parts, maybe a starter. I had to run a high torque starter for this diesel engine. That was $300 or $400. And now you get it into your engine bay, you either have to build engine mounts or buy them. So again, you've got a couple $100 in that. You can see how quickly this escalates from the internet gurus saying, oh, I can do it for $2,000. And now all of a sudden you've got $6,000 into your swap. Guys, this intercooler up front here that I have, that was about $400. I have about $400 in intercooler piping. Let's say you want to modify your engine like I did. The OM617 or even a 1.9 ALH, they're turd balls. They are just absolutely sluggish and garbage factory as far as power. They're reliable and you can get away with big tall gears that allow you to go crawling and stuff, but when you daily drive something like this and I'm pulling trailers and I'm doing all of this stuff that you would normally do, I needed power. $1,200 in an injector pump, boom. So as soon as you did the injector pump, that's when we needed the big intercooler. And on top of that, the stock turbo just wasn't enough. So I spent about $2,000 to get the HE221 plus all the adapters, plus all the gaskets, the regulator, all of that stuff. I'm literally in this thing at this point, just with what I've described to you, about $8,000. And that doesn't even count the fact that I ran an HX30W turbo first before I switched to the HE221. That required adapters, that required fittings. I had to change everything when I went to the 221. You can see how quick this is escalating. Guys, power steering pump lines. I spent a couple $100 just on power steering pump lines. Stainless AN fitting lines that thread into my remote oil filter. I have about $600 just in stainless lines. Get another filter, get some adapters. Are you getting what I'm saying here? AC, I had to build my own bracket. This is completely custom. I didn't pay anybody for this. Then I had to space all of this stuff out. If you don't have a full fabrication shop or access to one like I do, that's gonna be extremely difficult. I had to build my own oil pan. I had to build a drop bracket for the track bar. I'm not kidding when I say I have over $10,000 in getting this thing reliable, and it doesn't stop there. And now I'm not trying to discourage people, but there's a lot of people that I see just blindly going into diesel swaps based on bad information that they're getting out in the world of internet hype. And then ultimately they end up making a decision that they realize they're in over their heads. That's when I see diesels up for sale. People say, oh, it's converted. They're not finished. They've never driven them for 1,000 miles straight. They've never taken them cross country. They're not a complete swap. And so if I have to offer any word of advice when it comes to the cost of a diesel swap, guys, figure again, $5,000 to $8,000 minimum. And that is $5,000 to $8,000 to get your vehicle moving under its own power down the road, hopefully reliably. And then figure that over the next 1 to 2 years, you're gonna double or triple that initial investment to get it to where I have it. And I'm still working on this thing. It is still a project. So again, I hope that doesn't discourage any of you that are thinking about doing a diesel swap. If you're mechanical, if you've got a shop where you can park it and it can sit for a while, I'd say go for it. It's gonna be a really awesome experience. Be patient. It's gonna take way longer than you would think. It's gonna be way more expensive than you would think. And just be weary of the internet guru pros that have not done a 50,000 mile diesel swap like I have. And they're just gonna feed you bad information because they probably spent too much money and they don't want to admit how much they have into a vehicle that originally was worth a quarter of what the swap costs. Guys, I hope this was helpful to you. I hope that this encourages you if you are thinking of a swap. Maybe if you were on the fence, maybe this isn't a good idea for you. Maybe you should just do a stroker build. Maybe you should just do a crate engine of some sort. Keep it gas, I don't know. But at the end of the day, if you decide to do the swap, commit to it, finish it. Don't be like the other internet dudes who just start and then quit halfway through. Again, guys, all my other content was over on my other page, Keystone Carry. I'm transitioning over to this channel. Please take a second to like, subscribe, share this video with some friends that are thinking about diesel swapping one of their vehicles or their Jeep. I hope it helps you. Catch you guys in the next video. See ya.